We went from Walter Cronkite, basically, to this guy, Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. I checked it. He believes in dragons? He believes in dragons.
Did you triple force that?
And he also thinks that dragons, like, I guess, like dinosaur-y type of animals, roamed the earth when people did. So this is the type of really, really bad information that's going out there.
This election was the first time they didn't really have control of the media anymore.
Because what?
Because of us.
Non-mainstream media?
Because of podcasts.
Podcasts. I'm selling tickets.
Because of social media, because of
You're humanizing Trump like, well, he's human.
Yeah.
So why can't I?
They've been caught up in all this shit they've shoved down everybody's throat, especially all the Russia shit.
Imagine a scenario where you've thawed a guy out from some frozen cryo chamber thing. He's been in there for like 20 years. And this frozen guy, well, he loves comedy. And so this guy is excited to finally be unthawed and to discover what the world of comedy looks like in 2025, the year of our Lord. So you invite the guy to your house, sit him down on the Chesterfield, and prepare a televisual feast to get him up to speed. And you try to find a way to explain to this guy how this guy right here somehow is the king of both comedy and broadcasting.
He said Donald Trump was Hitler, but half the country disagreed with us and he won, and this is fucking great. And Joe Rogan believes in dragons! And Joe Rogan believes in dragons! Joe Rogan believes in dragons! 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 Dragons!
And you gotta explain to the freezer guy that you're sorry to be the one to tell him this, but we truly live in hell, and I feel that in my bones. And he's surely gonna want to get back in that freezer thing, but he can't, so instead he slices his own head off. Just a little scenario to think about. How the hell did we get here? It could have been great, but well, you guys know how the universe works. We're all just flying down an endless series of alternate realities inside a vast multiverse. And you can't really control which branch of those realities you are going to live in. And, well, our wonderful reality is the one in which this guy was able to be crowned both the king of comedy and the king of broadcasting. And I was sitting here watching this clip of this insane, resentful, unhappy, angry, and unfunny old man hysterically ranting and raving about his belief in dragons.
And then you couldn't believe that. Watch the news.
Illusion. It's all a fucking illusion. All of them, when convenient, have said the exact same things.
Dragons are real.
While his personally curated group of friends, who he's pretty much hired to hang out with him, sit around subserviently laughing at his terrible attempts at jokes,
Doing the New York thing.
nodding along as he continues to spout the literal dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life, and putting on a master class on the warning signs of early onset dementia.
Fucking climate change. Wake up. No, it's arson, you fucking idiots.
I think to myself, there's no way anybody listens to this. I check the podcast charts. It's number 1. No, 2.
Dragons.
And it's listed as comedy. Oh God. It suddenly all hit me how messed up this all is, and how this whole shit era of comedy kind of snuck up on all of us like boiling a frog or whatever. And I don't know if I'm just crazy, but I think this is actually bad. So I started thinking, trying to put the puzzle pieces together. Just trying to figure out, how did we even get here? And where are we going? And does it really have to be this shitty? Was it ever even not shitty? Like, what the hell is even going on here? And just like that, I realized it.
I was at the airport one time and I went to a Starbucks to get some coffee.
Stand-up comedy is fucking stupid. And I don't even mean this current shit era. I mean the whole thing. The whole art form, like the whole idea of it. It sucks. And it's worse than stupid, really. It's disgusting. And it should be illegal, maybe.
I hope I haven't offended anyone.
It just keeps getting weirder and weirder and further away from anything I ever thought was good. Yeah, this shit era of comedy is way past its expiration date. It's been fermented, fully soured, and is now completely putrefied. It's... how else can I describe this? We are way past the tail end of it, and we are dancing around in the steaming pile of shit that fell out of its ass. We've talked about this before, but everything has its cycle. You get that, right? Come on, a guy like you? I mean, there are guys out there who have already been talking about the cycles better than I can.
Intelligent human beings should realize that everything
guy.
has their cycle. They have their season.
I agree with this guy.
They have their beginning. They have their end.
Yep.
They have cycles.
I think I agree with everything he says.
About to be recycled.
Good. Do it.
We're on the threshold of the end of this civilization because it's about to be recycled.
Right,
Your only
I understand
chance to evacuate is to leave with us.
All right. Our lives have cycles. History has cycles. Culture, ecosystems. You see it everywhere, it's just obvious. You're telling me you don't see the cycles? What are you, drunk? Like all the time? Well, it's also obvious that this current shit era of comedy has reached its end. And wouldn't it be great if that next era could get started? Well, unfortunately, there are incredibly powerful forces keeping this bloated comedy carcass on life support, artificially sustained, and they won't allow it to die off and renew like it's supposed to. Disgusting. This whole shit era was really ushered in by Dame Cook, who was one of the first guys to figure out the scheme of using social media to get famous. This new technology shifted reality, opening up a new branch of the multiverse in which talent and, like, being funny became secondary to how well you could market yourself online. Or maybe I'm wrong and he's actually brilliant, I don't know. Who can be sure?
You ever wish you were a snake?
Not me.
Cool to travel around.
You know, there was a few guys that I saw that were like no-brainers. Dane was one. Like the shit that he gets through, the level that guy was killing. Dude, he put the fear in God in guys that have been doing it for 20 years. We used to do Dick Doherty, rest his soul, his comedy clubs. And Dane would have the headliner like pacing in the back.
Damn.
He was killing that hard, and he would be like, I shouldn't have to follow that. There's no jokes here. It's like, well, listen to the crowd. There's something going on here.
So instead of wasting their energy on writing good jokes, guys began focusing on how well they could promote themselves on the internet. And then people started making these new things called podcasts too. And given the potential payoff, the low cost and low effort required to do all this crap was irresistible.
No, I like MySpace.
Especially for these lazy comedian guys whose greatest motivation in life is the fear of ever having to get a real job.
Fuck me.
And that marked the official beginning of the comedy podcast shit entanglement era, in which we are currently festering. Congratulations. Of course, nobody struck gold bigger than this genius, Joe Rogan. There he is. Yeah, this guy never had an original idea in his life. He really doesn't know anything about anything, but he does know how to copy a guy who already did a thing.
Trans women are women. How about most? You gotta leave room for crazy.
Believe women. Right? All of them?
How about almost all?
How about you believe like 88%? And that last 12% that's out of their minds, I think that's a fair percentage, wouldn't you?
You gotta leave room for crazy.
That's what he does with stand-up, and that's what he did to start his podcast, which he stole the idea from Tom Green.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. It is 8:01. You're watching Tom Green Live. Roll the open.
Tom had the brains and the balls to start his own talk show, broadcasting live on the internet from his own home. And it was great. It was funny, chaotic, and it never took itself seriously.
That's good booze!
Play something real quick, okay?
Okay.
All right.
I'm on Tom Green Live, hooray!
All right, cool. Awesome.
It was unpredictable, and stuff went wrong all the time.
We can't see the on-air feed right now. It's not happening. Yeah, the live feed's not coming through too good, but we figured we'd sit and wait.
This guy's scaring me. Are we up on the computers?
We're up, yeah.
He'd get mad at his production staff as a bit.
Computers?
I want to see a laptop right now with it on the feed. Can I see it? Bring me a laptop right now.
Instead of whatever this is.
No. It's like a.
It's weird.
It's sort of like an Olympic.
Sorry.
Sometimes he'd get bombarded with prank calls, and because Tom has an actual sense of humor and a fully functioning brain, he could play along with them.
Tom Green, can you do a barrel roll for me?
A barrel roll?
Yeah, a barrel roll.
I like that guy. That guy's cool.
I'm the guy you hung up on the first call.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry about that.
Hey, man, I just wanted to tell you.
Hello, you're on the air.
Instead of whatever this is.
I am really into rock, paper, scissors.
How into it are you?
I'm undefeated.
How is that possible?
But whenever they wanted anything, I would be like, all right, rock, paper, scissors. If you win, you can do this thing. If I win, and then I would like pick the thing that was like their sort of deepest fear,
Can we play right now?
If I win, I do the programming on your show for a week.
No. That's worth a lot of money. You can f off. Vance,
You were so
and-
confident until just now. We
No,
could
no,
take
no.
a month,
That's
few
just-
months
that's,
off.
That's all right. Sounds like someone's scared to lose at rock, paper, scissors.
It sounds like someone else is scared to lose it.
No, you're asking me for something that's ridiculous.
Look how mad it is.
You don't have it. Fuck off.
And number one comedy podcast in the world.
Friends was a funny show.
Joe, you were great on Friends.
No, I wasn't on Friends.
That's a joke.
Hey, stop joking.
No.
But is this
There you are.
all going to
Everybody's
be
done it.
huge?
Is it-
Huge?
That's a joke.
Did
Such
that-
a fun podcast. Such a fun time.
You need to beat Russia? Are you out of your fucking mind?
Fun.
Are you serious? Do you know how big that place is? Do you
Too
know how
big.
much military force is behind Putin? What are you talking about?
What are you talking
What are you
about?
talking about? Like, what if he
Right.
just decides to go nuclear?
Oh God, shut up.
Break down your whole regime.
Oh, that's better.
Tom Green in the black limousine.
Oh, hell yeah. God, can you imagine that parallel universe where Tom became the number one podcast guy instead of Joe? Must be a fun place to be. That's where we're all supposed to be, if anything made any fucking sense in this stupid world. But it doesn't. And sadly, guys, we are all forced to live in this very shitty branch of the multiverse.
Exiled from the group.
This is the branch where Stu and Joe stole Tom Green's idea, made a much shittier version of it, and slowly took over mainstream media, comedy, and the U.S. government. As he continues to spread his wonderful mental herpes to all his listeners week after week.
Made your daddy proud.
I'm proud to be your friend.
I'm proud to be yours as well.
I love you, Joe, man.
I love you too,
Thank you
brother.
for your time, bro.
Oh yeah, thanks. Almost forgot to thank him today. You can watch in real time the moment Joe realizes there might be gold in these podcast hills.
Thank
Dude,
you.
I think this
I
is fucking awesome.
Thank you, man. See, no, I mean,
This is the craziest thing ever.
it really is different, you know,
Yeah.
than television.
This
or
is
anything.
way better.
He gets rock hard, praising its lack of corporate interests and griping about how advertising and money ruin anything good about
It's not a
entertainment.
corporate pressure. See,
Yeah.
the thing that f***ed up television,
Watch the lab,
thing that
Mike.
f***ed up entertainment in general
Idiot.
is money. They
Oh,
still
really?
selling advertising, and that's all. And that fucks up everything. It doesn't make anything good.
A belief he abandons literally within seconds once he realizes that he could be the sole beneficiary of this potential new advertising revenue stream.
We need to figure out how you make money from this.
Yeah. I think we
I
create
thought money ruined
a
everything.
national interweb, we
Sure.
call it, and then create a mass traffic
Like a portal.
gauge,
Watch right here. You can see the wheels turning inside his brain as he quickly flip-flops.
like a portal
Yes.
into the advertising revenue
Yeah.
stream. You know,
Yeah.
then
So he just copied Tom Green, and he started the Joe Rogan shitcast experiment. And just for being an early adopter of podcasting, he was able to become the biggest and most mainstream establishment media figure on the planet. There he goes, stealing Joe.
He's up.
Yeah, this visionary genius is comedy's George Carmack. Who's George Carmack? Well, he's the guy who found that first piece of gold in the Yukon, which started the whole Klondike gold rush. There was nothing special about George Carmack. He was just some guy. He was just lucky enough to get a tip from this other guy, Robert Henderson, saying there might be some gold up there in the Yukon. So George just went up there and yeah, he found some. And after that, loads of guys swarmed up to the Klondike there and ruined the place as they all tried to copy what Carmack did. And just like Henderson tipped off Carmack, Tom Green tipped off Joe, giving Joe the idea to start a DIY podcast. And he did. And he struck gold and caused a stampede of comedians trying to copy his blueprint, turning everything to shit in the process. Like a plague of locusts. Shit locusts. And guys, please don't hold that against Tom, all right? There's no way he could have predicted the consequences of that tip. And Tom's a wonderful man. And actually, just like Joe Rogan, all his riches were never enough for George Carmack. He was always questing for more and more gold, never satisfied. He, like Joe, must have had some kind of dad-shaped hole in his soul that he tried to fill with money and fame, but it never really worked.
What are you saying?
George dropped dead at age 61 while working yet another new claim. I'm just saying. So Joe struck gold and, as we all know, became the godfather king of both comedy and podcasting, and helped to restore faith that we are still living in a meritocracy-based society. And we love him and we thank him each and every day of our lives. Along the way, Joe spawned a slew of copycat shows trying to coattails his success, to the point where every single comedian now has their own podcast, literally every single one. And so many of them were built on the same premise of what goes on inside a comedian's twisted mind, what really happens backstage in that green room.
The green room is amazing.
No.
I know it looks bad, and
I don't know.
It doesn't.
I can't believe it. Well, we all found out pretty quick that most of them are just sick, twisted perverts and dangerous, mentally ill narcissists predators, abusers, all those kinds of guys, farting around in that stupid green room in one big depraved circle jerk.
Lucky she paid 100. I had girls in my dick giving me coke from Chewy.
Oh,
You think I'm fucking kidding you? Yeah, you gotta suck my dick to get in the belly room. I'm making a call for you. That's the fucking gateway into coming to Hollywood. Everybody knows that.
How many girls did you have do that?
Oh, 20 of them. She got to Hollywood, bro. She was beautiful. And when she left, she had dirty fucking, her nails were dirty. And then a year later, she wrote me a letter to the comedy store. You sucker, you broke me. I kept shooting sperm balls in her fucking ball.
That actually makes me want to start believing in the death penalty. Send him right to Sparky. Anyways, on it went. And they just kept making these podcasts. They just won't stop, pumping them out. And then a pandemic happened, and people were alone, and so desperate not to listen to the thoughts inside their own heads. So they put on these podcasts as mental screensavers and escape into the friendship simulation that these podcasts provide. And the numbers went up, and more guys made more and more podcasts, always trying to outcompete each other by making everything as fast, cheap, and low effort as possible. And then it's just a matter of reading ads for pills or nicotine mouthwash or whatever.
Brain nourishing.
Oh, it's not good. These lazy stand-up guys got into comedy because it was the easiest thing they could do to avoid getting a real job. But then podcasting came along, and suddenly they had an even easier way to make even more money.
Podcast?
And then pretty soon the podcast eclipsed the stand-up, and now all these so-called comedians are really just zero-effort podcasters selling shitty products again and again and again.
We'll be back with the interview in 1 minute. First, we want to talk to you about the sponsors of today's episode, AG1.
You should nuke England.
We take AG1 to stay healthy.
And you're looking great there, bud. Jesus Christ. They really have become indistinguishable from those infomercials you used to see on TV late at night when you couldn't sleep. And you'd turn that thing on out of desperation just to maybe hear another voice.
I love you. You have my life.
You might even see an interesting product, who knows?
Arthritis, depression.
Those are podcasts now.
iRestore, the clinically proven, game-changing hair growth device, iRestore. This show is brought to you by DraftKings.
They're just places these fools can hawk supplements and get free advertising for their own branded crap.
I love this.
And they all follow that original blueprint from the godfather of podcasting, Joe Rogan.
Mom brain is real. It's a real thing.
You need some Alpha Brain.
What is it? Can I take it? I'm breastfeeding.
Alpha Brain is a nootropic that my company Onnit makes. And I'm not saying this because it's my company.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually a very anxious person.
I have a friend whose daughter was on ADHD medication, and she was getting off of it, and he started giving her Alpha Brain.
Very cool.
He said it helped her tremendously.
Respect for the daughter. Wow.
What is it?
He's become the new establishment, cutting deals with big pharma and backed by massive corporations like Spotify and the Big N.
The thing that fucks up entertainment in general is money. That's all it is. And that fucks up everything. It doesn't make anything good.
So Joe was getting more and more popular. But with that success came a whole new level of public criticism that Joe was not prepared for and was too weak and frankly lazy to handle. See, one of the core problems with this Joe Rogan guy is the fact that he has that dad-shaped hole in his soul that we alluded to earlier. He grew up with this terrible guy for a dad.
My big memory from my childhood is my mother coming home with hamburger meat and my father being upset that it was hamburger that she had brought home for dinner, and he beat the shit out of her. And we left.
And do you think that somehow or another that put that fight in you?
Yeah, unquestionably, yeah. Like, I thought my dad was this great guy. When you're a kid, your dad's your hero.
Right.
And then all of a sudden I realized when I was 5 years old, very clearly that my dad was a douchebag. There's that feeling that you can't trust anybody.
And after doing all that emotional damage, Joe's dad abandoned him. But he left him with a lifetime gift, a dark black hole inside his soul that he might not even be aware of, and if he is entirely incapable of fixing or even acknowledging. Crippling fear. Now this black hole, it produces incredibly powerful emotional gravity. All his fears, insecurities, self-loathing coalesce around that dad hole. And over these 68 years of Joe's life, this swirling concoction of negativity has formed around the hole. And that's stressful, man. It's a real bind. And it's actually a big reason why Joe became a comedian in the first place.
Why else did you get into being a comedian?
I don't know. I got talked into doing it. No, I wasn't really very funny. I got talked into doing stand-up by my friends from martial arts.
Stop laughing. It's not funny.
I was very insecure. and I got bullied.
See, it's a sad thing.
And I wasn't big. I was a small kid.
Better music.
And I was really nervous. And I did not like that feeling at all. Yeah, I went to an open mic night. I watched amateurs try it. Like, most of them don't know what they're doing. They're terrible. Like, people who really suck inspire you to do it because they lower the bar of expectation.
And do you still do your stand-up?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. That is the emperor of comedy you're talking to. See, there are two main strains of comedian.
Yeah.
The first kind are the people that are creative artists that have weird brains and maybe even have a triple-digit IQ, and they're driven to create. They are compelled by the muses or whatever, and it makes sense that they're comedians.
I like an escalator, man, because an escalator can never break. It can only become stairs.
Oh, jokes. I remember those. The other kind of strain of comic, and this is almost all of them these days, are sad people with black holes inside their soul who get into comedy to try and get external validation from audiences, and to indulge in the delusion of power that they feel when standing alone on stage with an amplified microphone where nobody else is allowed to speak, and probably they should lock their phones in a bag too. And now I'm trying to think about who else stood on stage with a microphone trying to fill a hole, vying for attention and power. Oh yeah, this guy. Yeah, for this type of guy, stand-up comedy is a dream. They're sad little guys who seek power and external validation. It's classic Hitler stuff. And it's scary, psychotic stuff.
Free speech. That's what we're fighting. That's all I'm fighting for.
Fuck, it's Dave.
When I'm on that stage, I'm there to dictate your emotions.
Oh.
I'm a dictator at that point.
He admits it.
That's all we're fighting for, is free speech.
It's this weird power fantasy where, if they're lucky, they can find enough other dumb sad guys in an audience who will give them the laughter and applause they need so badly.
Would you rather be happy and a lot of people not see your art?
I wouldn't be happy. I wouldn't be happy. I can already answer that before you even finish that question. I couldn't be happy if people aren't absorbing art of mine.
Sounds familiar.
Why do you think that is?
Because I'm addicted to it now. I'm addicted to that feeling of
validation.
Gratification, instant gratification, validation, all of it.
And this shit era of comedy is all built around guys like this, whose entire scheme is simply pandering to the most easily entertained brain-dead audience imaginable to get that quick, self-soothing dopamine hit. And at no point are they funny. And that's the real issue. And they're just too lazy and stupid and driven by urges other than the pursuit of...
Jeremy Piven.
Wait, what's this?
1,000 years ago,
What is this?
I did a show called Entourage.
Ah.
You imagine if we tried to reboot that today in this climate?
Yeah.
We used to have billboards everywhere. Just those billboards today, 5 straight, white, focused men coming straight at
Take me back.
People will be like, is that a documentary about January 6th?
Yeah. That is really good stuff. I actually changed my mind. This era of comedy rules. This era of comedy rules. So yeah, comedy copers. That's the kind of comedian Joe is. And it's sad. He'd love to shrink the size of that dark amalgam that haunts him, but he can't because he doesn't seem to realize, or maybe it's too painful to think about, that he's only chained to that swirling mass of negativity because of the emotional gravity of that dad hole. Address the trauma of that dad hole and the rest floats away into the void. But he can't, and he won't. And because of that, he's stuck with that black hole inside, and the dark amalgam that surrounds it, which, in 2020, was about to grow to terrifying and unimaginable proportions.
Hello, everybody. I have an announcement. The podcast is moving to Spotify. Thanks.
Joe made a big boy business deal with the partly Chinese Communist Party-owned Spotify Corporation. And after that, he started getting in a lot more trouble for making up stuff on his show and like ruining society and things like that. And at first he had to keep apologizing when he got caught lying, which is crazy to think about now, but it was a different era back then.
Historic fires are ripping through 3 western states.
Hello, everybody. I need to make an apology and a retraction. I said something on the podcast about people getting arrested for lighting fires. I got duped. It's wrong. And I said it without looking into it. It's very irresponsible. And I'm sorry if I duped you as well. I know it feels very irresponsible of me. I don't take it lightly. I'm very upset with myself. And I apologize to you as well. Sorry.
The guy was in way over his head, and his inability to distinguish reality from fiction was starting to stress him out, knowing how much he was bound to keep screwing up and how much trouble he'd keep getting in.
Sorry.
And, if that wasn't bad enough, his best friend humiliated him for apologizing.
these what do you think about our buddy put an apology today?
Sorry.
Who?
You see Joe
Rogan, but
put
he
the
got a
apology-
fact wrong.
Yeah.
Poor Joe Rogan. He put the apology up.
Sorry.
They would tell him go. He was. That's hard for my dog. My heart goes out to him. He had to put an apology up.
Sorry.
Shit.
I guess
Things look good when he was. Things look good in the basement, dog. Once you take that Spotify money, you got to start apologizing. Sorry. Make him believe you can't. You know, the poor guy. That's what happens when you get that money. You cash that big check. You got to watch what you say. Did you see him?
This marked the start of the apology era, which would end up being way too much adversity for Joe to handle. And to get out of this bind, Joe was about to embark on a transformation that will surely be studied by psychologists for the rest of time.
How serious is this? Is this something that we need to be terrified of?
So, long story short, a pandemic started, Joe couldn't handle it, and he went and had a panic attack in the sauna.
Well, I was scared out of my mind in the beginning. When everybody's shutting down in the beginning and people are stockpiling food, I was worried about people I knew getting really sick and dying. And then I was convinced that I had it. At one point in time, I was like, God, I do feel like I'm breathing heavy. I felt like my breath is coming short. I did. I had like psychosomatic
Now
issues
who's the bitch,
thinking about
Joe?
it.
Guy had a panic attack sitting on fucking 12 elk. You had a fucking panic attack.
in
and
the
then,
sauna.
And then you felt bad about yourself, and then you attack people with masks. That's how it works. And that's how the hatred starts.
And that really was when the hatred was unleashed. Soon after, Joe kept talking about like shooting homeless guys.
I mean, nobody does anything about violent crime in LA anymore. Maybe we should just go and shoot homeless people.
I like your ideas.
Yeah.
This pandemic stuff was way too stressful. Then he started frantically scrolling Twitter, found a new group of guys to hang out with, and these guys allowed Joe to believe that everything was actually okay, and so Joe felt relieved and safe with them, and transformed his inner anxiety into outward rage, an emotion he was more accustomed to dealing with on account of that bad dad. But unfortunately, this new group of guys and all the stuff that he and Joe were talking about was getting Joe a lot of negative attention. And that made even more anxiety bubble up. And again, Joe transformed that anxiety into an even bigger rage. And I mean, this guy was getting pissed.
Well, breaking news this evening, Joe Rogan, an extremely popular podcaster, announced on social media today that he has COVID.
Shit, anyone got a lighter?
He mentioned ivermectin is something more often used to deworm horses.
I can afford people medicine, motherfucker. This is me. This is ivermectin.
You got it
This is
with
right
you.
here. Somebody gave it to me.
Oh, this is amazing.
Look, they put a yellow filter on me too. They did. I look like shit there. Do you know that?
I think you look good.
Pause.
And his mind just completely shattered.
That's enough, Jim.
He had to defend this new guy he'd started becoming, and all his beliefs, which were the only thing abating his rampant anxiety. And now he was way too invested in this stuff to ever turn back.
5'3". I think this is really important. One of the problems that I've had, me personally, I've had with any idea is that once I have an original idea or once I start looking at something a certain way, I become married to it. And I've had real problems with that. And the problem with saying this happened and that happened, which I used to do all the time, is that you don't fucking know. You don't know. You don't know. But until you do know, when you say you know and you might be wrong, it becomes an ego thing. If I wasn't doing this fucking podcast, okay, if I was just a regular comedian and that's what I did for a living and I didn't pay much attention to alternative media and podcasts, I would be just like people I know who I used to be friends with, who now hate me and are angry at me and talk shit about me online.
Now, you might have noticed that Joe is on the verge of tears there, struggling very hard not to break down and cry. And that's because the real Joe is inside there somewhere dying and desperately trying to be heard. But Joe won't allow it. He's committed to being the new guy. And he puts in major effort in order to keep the old guy beneath the surface, basically torturing him into submission.
And I'm taking the lid off that cold plunge. As I'm taking it off, this, don't do it, don't do it. I'm like, shut the fuck up. And I climb right in and and because I get through it every day, I start the day off with a win. I won. I beat the inner bitch. I conquered the inner bitch. I got in there.
If I start my day with a win, then how can I be a loser? Well, despite winning so hard at life from sitting in that tub, he was still pretty messed up from all the backlash he was getting from all his major whoopsies.
I would have been like them if I didn't have the access to the kind of conversations that I've had, if I didn't have the kind of mindset that I have.
The mindset.
My personality.
Personality.
Is just immune to bullshit.
He's got it all.
When bullshit hits me, I go, oh, I know what this is. I grew up without a dad.
Daddy.
I don't trust people. And the people that haven't experienced that, I can understand why they formed the conclusions that they did, because I could have been them. I 100% could have been them.
Well, thank God Joe's mommy bought hamburger that fateful night. Or Joe could have ended up a guy with the biggest mainstream media platform on earth, being easily used and exploited by weird billionaires and grifters, and allowing it to happen because he's just so desperate for love and validation on account of that dad hole. It's crazy to think there's a multiverse thing out there where a #1 comedy podcast doesn't have guests like some comic book villain evil rich guy, all these nutjob billionaire dweebs, and like, I don't know, a guy literally from the CIA that's on like once a month for some reason, and also like the entire government basically. Could any of these people have tried to influence the way he thinks? Nah, man, he grew up without a dad, so you don't even have to take that question into consideration. And say sorry. Like, would it kill you to just apologize for no reason? Anyway, yeah, the manipulation of Joe. I thank the Lord each day of my life that didn't happen. Right, Duncan? Remember you warned Joe about that happening? Thank you so much for saving our dad. I mean, Joe. Thank God he's got friends that still tell him the truth and don't tell him part of the truth and then walk it back a little bit out of fear of disrupting his delusions, stressing him out, and then being cut out of his inner circle. That would be spineless and, would make it obvious that all your peace and love and honesty stuff was just a load of crap all along.
If you're not careful, folks from deep, dark wells of perspective are gonna infiltrate your shit.
Listen to me. All those people that are organized, they come hang out with us. Give me a hug.
You don't want to give them a hug?
Relax.
Why?
Just relax. All those people are just people, man.
Like a white supremacist?
They're lost.
Yeah, but you have to watch out because people are gonna try to exploit you. That's the main thing, is people recognizing what you are. You have political agendas, will infiltrate your shit and then start blowing out their radioactivity into the world, right? That's a fear.
Like radium.
But dude, I do worry about you sometimes, man, because it's you now have a platform that is unlike any platform that's happened, because you're doing a comedy podcast, radio show style thing, but you're also interviewing people about really heavy duty shit. Then you start thinking man, I've got this podcast that lots of people listen to. Has it ever happened where maybe some really intelligent person has manipulated me in an attempt to get me to disseminate some kind of information out into the world?
Good luck manipulating me, Duncan Trussell. I'm an American.
Yeah,
okay?
But you wouldn't even know. That's the thing. You wouldn't even...
Oh, I wouldn't know? How would I not know? These people are people.
What?
They're going to be if someone is so good at manipulating people that they can manipulate me and change the way I think about things.
Yeah.
Well, then good luck.
So Joe got attached to all this COVID stuff, and everyone was either yelling at him and calling him a dangerous idiot, or they were showering him with praise for widely broadcasting all their favorite ideas about what reality might be, and making them feel validated. So, if you're a fearful, self-loathing, and external validation-seeking guy like Joe, which side would you embrace? Well, instead of posting more apology videos, he opted to fully dive into a wonderful new safe space. He tapped into something he'd been searching for all his life, a source of constant praise and affirmation. And the guys doing all the praising were happy to have found a powerful ally in the new mainstream media. And as if that wasn't enough, Joe also found an endless parade of charlatans willing to juice his rod like he's some kind of god king for access to his wonderful platform and a chance to milk him for their own fame and fortune.
I want to give you the gifts I got you, bro. Got 5 of them. Okay, the letter to the right is the Warren Commission. Then you got the autograph of Lee Harvey Oswald, and you got the autograph of John F. Kennedy.
Wow, a 5th place golf tournament prize.
So I hope you liked it.
It's wonderful.
The last one, I'm convinced this is the one that I think you're gonna like a lot. So, this one was work, bro. I hope you like it. Okay. This is with the what do you call it when you're doing a...
Whoa. Yeah, it's called a BPSRJ, a blatant public sycophantic rod juicing. And Joe just laps it all up, swallowing the praise and plugging it into that hole his bad dad left in his soul.
You're a very important guy.
Here we go.
Everybody loves you.
Finish him
I got
off.
a lot of respect for you.
Talk to me,
There's
baby.
a level of admiration for you.
Don't stop.
There's true love for you.
Harder.
There's true protection for you.
Too
You
hard.
don't need any protection when it comes up to a street fight.
Perfect.
You know how to fight and take care of yourself.
Feels
my
good.
My weapon is words. And by the way, my book is coming out in December.
And these raw juicings just felt so good, and they relieved Joe of the anxiety he was feeling from all that criticism he was getting. And on top of that, all those instances of Joe transforming his fear into rage compounded on each other, and through neuronic muscle memory, his brain began to default to the fear-rage switch innately. And whether Joe meant to do this or not, I don't know, no free will, he actually became a whole new guy.
I've never voted right-wing in my life. I'm very pro-choice. I'm very women's rights, civil rights, gay rights, trans rights. I'm even universal health care. See this thing that Trump's doing with children that were born in other countries and then brought over here as children, and then they're talking about deporting them. That drives me crazy. The hard right version of that is despicable. January 6th thing is important, and one of the reasons why I think it's important because it highlights the reasons why a guy like Donald Trump is so dangerous.
Joe Rogan endorsing Donald Trump.
Joe Rogan just endorsed me. Is that right? Thank you, Joe.
There we go.
Becoming a new guy is a very effective way of slipping out of the shackles of judgment anxiety. Simply identify a crowd that you want to belong with, and then reconfigure your entire personality in order to fit in with that group.
It's like, you remember when Madonna had a fake English accent and everybody's like, bitch, you're from Brooklyn or wherever the fuck you're from. You are not from England. Like, you can't do that.
They were like,
yes, they all jumped in the back of a U-Haul truck together. There has never been a thing that I've ever seen where almost immediately I was like, those are feds. A thing that I've ever seen. A thing that I've ever seen. A thing that I've ever seen. A thing. I mean, look, some people are barely holding on to reality.
You're right.
Barely.
You're right.
All they need is one smack, one...
If you adopt all their beliefs and then convince yourself that they're the only group whose opinion matters, then you never have to worry about being judged and criticized ever again. What a relief. This rap guy, Machine Gun Boy, he too became a new guy recently by employing the new body, new guy technique himself.
I'm in a new body. I literally am in a new body. Like, I covered everything on my arms and my body. I left windows to it, but just like there's windows to my old work, but I'm a new person. So the evolution has like led me from a caterpillar to a butterfly now.
Hold on, that was kind of deep.
Transition into a new guy is very difficult, and it takes many years to become fully immersed in the self-delusion. But upon reaching the maximal delusion saturation point, your simulated self becomes more real than your original classical self. And the transition into a new guy is completed. And after years of waffling on the fence, as we enter the year 2025, Joe's transition into this new guy appears to finally be complete. Well done.
You gotta remember, like, they were probably messed up. The reason they're doing what they're doing is because something happened to them earlier on. There was an aggressive, teacher, uncle, somebody that just
maybe a dad.
A dad who was drunk.
Yep.
There's stuff that pushes them in that direction to be expressive, controlling, and wanting to be acknowledged and do it exactly my way. Because I was powerless as a child.
And when you said I beat up kids, I beat up other women. Joe Harrison was, when you farted in your house, they knew next door. How could I get away with that?
Yeah, for sure, right? And then that's the thing you see with actors too, and they finally get some success, and then finally you're the man. Like, oh, look, it's Mike. Your bagel's ready, Mike, and your trailer's ready. And then Mike is, get me a fucking coffee. You're like, oh, Mike, anything for you. And people act in this disproportionate, very insane way. You know what I'm suffering? Jamie, this coffee sucks. Water. I don't know what happened, but you made it like almost, it's literally like almost like water. Can we get some more? We're going to talk about this. This is the worst coffee I've ever had.
The exponential here, by the way, is, OpenAI or whoever makes the next model.
Jamie, this is still super watered down.
It just have to like
I did.
I just put the water in.
I'm telling you, dog.
There's a ton of coffee.
Get me a coffee.
Set of stable materials.
Coffee's terrible. I'll just tell you right now, Jamie, this is terrible for coffee, though. You're like, this is fucking terrible.
Cold one.
Oh, he looks like
it's terrible.
And it really makes you wonder, How many times has Joe done this? How many new guys has he transformed into over the years in order to avoid actually facing the dad hole head on? And who is the real Joe Rogan underneath all of those guys? And do the old guys still exist somewhere? Or do they float away to die in some astral plane? Oh, or maybe one of those other branches of the multiverse. I don't know, but it's all very friggin' cerebral. So just a quick recap, we're exploring how did comedy get so shit? And surely you know the end of this shit cycle is coming any day now. You're all aware of the ever-growing industry of guys pointing out how shit the ship era is. People are catching on, guys. Don't wait for the rest of the rats to start jumping off the Rogan shit ship. Be that rat yourself and fucking jump already. It's time to leave Daddy's house. I mean, would you rather be at the forefront of the great post-Rogan comedy rebuild? Or would you prefer to face a jury of your peers at Comedy Nuremberg? Sorry. Anyway, so King Joe became a new guy. It's fucking insane, but he did it. He's the mainstream king. And this new guy he's become has allowed him to make a massive power grab within the US government, cementing his position within the establishment. He's the comedy czar. And I honestly can't even tell if he's aware of the fact that he's become the unofficial podcast of the US government. He's got a direct line to the president.
Well, we definitely hate it in Canada right now.
Oh, yeah.
See the hockey game? Kick Canada's ass. Sorry, Canada. In Canada.
Excuse me?
It's not good, because that's their fucking sport.
Oh, really, dude?
Eat shit. All right, sorry, what were we talking about?
The talk about turning Canada into a 51st.
Oh, yeah.
He's serious. He told me on the phone he was serious.
Yeah, well,
at first I was joking around, but then I was thinking maybe it's not a bad idea. So funny.
He's become comedy Goebbels. Jobles. Just kidding. But if you think that's slanderous, you must have missed Joe's best friend's announcement that comedy is legal now.
The left wanted to make comedy illegal, you know? Like, you can't make fun of anything. So then it was like, comedy sucks. It's like, nothing's funny. You can't make fun of anything. It's like, legalize comedy.
Yeah.
Legalize comedy.
But now it's 2025 and Joe's the only guy on earth still ranting and raving about the pandemic, wants his bread and butter, and
why are you just accepting this? Because it's a noble thing.
Addicted to something that pissed him off like 4 years ago. Addicted to the whining. He looks for stuff to whine about like a pathetic cigarette junkie, scouring the sidewalk for butt remnants to smoke because that's all that's available. And you gotta take what you can get.
If that Tim Walsh sucker, if that guy got into power, that weirdo who puts tampons in the boys' room and...
So this new guy experiment is fucking insane, but it actually kind of worked out for Joe. But Joe wasn't gonna stop there. I mean, say what you want about Joe, but this guy can overcommit to stuff at a pathological level. Becoming a new guy was not enough. Though more secure in his delusion than ever before, the flimsy tent poles holding up the belief in this new guy were always threatened by critics and like just regular normal people calling him stupid and stuff. So it was still kind of stressful. Now Joe is putting in efforts to normalize the whole concept of becoming a new guy in order to legitimize his own transition. And now Joe has gifted the world a brand new blueprint to copy. It's the new guy blueprint. And guys are already getting into it. We just saw Mark Zuckerberg show up to the Shitcast to unveil his new guy.
We're also lucky that you got into jiu-jitsu because I think you look different. When you walked in here today, you look thicker. You look like a different guy.
It just turned on like a part of my brain that I was like this was a piece of the puzzle that should have been there. And I'm glad it now is.
Now, Mark maybe wasn't quite ready to unveil the new guy, but you know, sometimes we get a little bit too excited about our new guy. And we unveil them before they're really ready.
I like racing, and I feel like all these activities, grilling meats, racing cars, are probably two of the most fun things that you can do. Oh yeah, hunting too.
Yeah, same kind of thing. You've done a lot of that as well.
Yeah, well, my favorite is bow and arrow.
Mm-hmm.
Joe's already dubious. Mm-hmm. He's worried that Mark is going to bungle the new guy unveiling here and undo all the hard work Joe's put into normalizing new guy transitioning. But at the same time, Joe the gatekeeper can't help but become activated to defend the holy hobby of hunting.
I mean, that's, I think, like the most... That feels like the most kind of sporting.
What kind of bow do you have?
Gosh.
Whoopsie.
Do you know the company that makes it?
Not off the top of my head.
Oh, that's bad.
No.
Yeah, no, this is embarrassing.
Yeah.
This is embarrassing.
But Joe was enthused to see someone else try and follow his path.
I saw your neck. I'm like, his neck's bigger. Your neck is bigger.
Good.
Are you using Iron Neck?
Sorry, I got to cut it off before he goes into infomercial mode again. So Mark got Joe's support for his new guy, but Mr. Schaub? Yeah, he wasn't buying it. Brendan saw right through Mark's new guy transition and refused to recognize it.
You had Zuckerberg on, and he goes, I hunt. Oh, no. I went like this. Yes.
Joe's not having it and jumps in to defend Mark and his new guy.
Do you?
No, what kind of bow do you use?
I think he did. He just forgot his bow.
Oh,
he forgot the name of his bow.
Zuckerberg 2.0, and I love it.
And of course, Brian defends the new guy transition as well to appease his lord. It's all kind of coming together for Joe, I guess. All these guys are becoming new guys all over the place, using Joe's blueprint as a guide. Back before he completed his transition, Joe was dreaming about all of this happening. And since he knows how difficult it can be, navigating society as a new guy, and all the criticism you get for transitioning, he started envisioning a new world for all the new guys to go. And he checked his bank account, and there was like $1 billion in there from his work with Big Pharma. And so Joe thought, well, what if I create a special place for anyone that wants to be a new guy? And we'll all be new guys, and we'll support each other's guys. And if we come together and bind all of our new guy copes together, we'll be stronger in our belief. And if a guy can become any kind of guy he wants anytime, then maybe reality itself can be changed just the same. And then nobody can break the delusion, and we'll finally be able to relax forever. And reality can be whatever we want it to be. And there's only one place where we can do it.